You know what? It's weird having the scarf. I feel like the Blue Bishop. But yeah, bloody hell, what a result. Okay. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the School of Science. My name is Luke, and this is the post-match reaction for Everton versus Leicester. Everton 4, Leicester 0. Wow. Now, before we kick things off, I just want to give a massive shout out to the guys over at the Bramley-Moore pub. So this is on Regent Road, just opposite our beautiful brand new stadium. And inside there, you can get yourself a nice little array of Everton merchandise. Now, this is one of them. So this is one of the very nice ones. So you've got the nice little Everton piece on the front here. And then on the other side, then again, is it front, which one's back? You have got the famous Bramley-Moore on it. So, well, the world famous Bramley-Moore, should they even say. So they don't just do scarves, they have clocks, shirts, hoodies, beanies. They've got all sorts in there. So if you are after some Everton memorabilia, just before you go into the brand new stadium, please go over there and give them some support. They are a really great gang of people in there. Have a pint while you're at it, if you're old enough to drink, obviously. And also remember, drinks responsibly. But yeah, so about the game today. I'll admit, when I first went into this game, I was nervous, you know. I was a little bit concerned just for the fact that they were on a little bit of a bounce. So they did actually beat Tottenham 2-1 just the game before this. They were coming into it. They were in a good little bit of run of form as well. And they were actually pressing Tottenham really well. I watched their game. They were an impressive team in that game. So I was a little bit concerned that they might go into this smelling the blood in the water and try and do the same to us what they did to Tottenham. Thankfully, though, within 10 seconds of kickoff, now I've heard different numbers here. I've heard 8 seconds, I've heard 10 seconds, I've heard 9 seconds, 7 seconds. I've heard all sorts of different numbers around here, but we'll say 10 seconds because that's what officially has been put on the Everton Twitter page. They were all put to rest through a lovely long cross. Well, I couldn't even say cross because it wasn't going that way. A long shot or pass from Pickford, put down the field and beautifully manoeuvred by Beto. So what basically has happened is Pickford to put the long ball down. Beto, as that ball was coming down, did enough to distract their defender to make him lose the ball. But it had also dropped and had fallen short just enough so that Decore could actually run onto it, get the ball and crack it into the net, getting us a nice super fast 1-0. Now, the last time we'd scored a goal that quickly, I remember it being the FA Cup final, and things from there just went sideways quickly. And to be honest, it was getting a little bit ominous like that because of the fact that we were a team that were riddled with injuries back then, and we're a team riddled with injuries right now. But thankfully, within about 5 or 6 minutes, we basically put that to bed. So from there, Beto was able to actually get a nice clean pass through, and he hit, and believe it or not, from Tarkowski of all things, your centre-back going to your centre-forward, a nice thread through from them two, where he put an absolute rocket shot across the goal into the net. Their keeper stood absolutely no chance. And then from there, things sort of settled down a little bit of to and fro from Leicester and Everton, so they were actually, everyone was actually putting in some hard challenges there. They were definitely trying for it, but the only thing was, we just kept them at bay. They didn't get too far past our midfield, and from there, they weren't really able to break us down anywhere near the 18-yard box. I mean, Pickford himself quite literally could have just grabbed this chair here and said, you know what, I'm getting comfy today. He could have quite easily have done that and just kept, and he wouldn't have been hassled that much. But yeah, so over the course of the first half, it was quite, you know, to and fro. Leicester were having a crack at us, we were having a crack at them. Nice bit of work in the middle of that pitch. James Garner, you wouldn't have thought the guy had been injured all throughout from the midway of this season, because he came into this, got a nice solid 80 minutes, and he looked decent. There was a couple of moments where he sort of showed his rustiness, but that was quickly mitigated by his overall performance. He was getting absolutely everywhere. He was basically being the perfect number 8 for us, getting around that pitch and doing what he needs to do. Likewise with the Idrissa Gana game. I was going to say Mangala then. I forgot that Mangala's actually injured. But yeah, the Idrissa Gana game was the same. He was stopping any of the progression from Leicester. He was able to sort of cut out the ball. He was able to get his passes through. Ndiaye, he knew exactly where Ndiaye was, getting them passes out to Ndiaye. Branthwaite was pushing up a little bit, likewise Tarkowski and O'Brien at times. O'Brien operating that right side of midfield was absolutely beautiful. Alongside Lindstrom, the two of them are really making a good relationship up that right-hand side, and long may it continue. I think at the end of the season, we do need to consider buying Jesper Lindstrom. Not for the fact that it's definitely not for his goal prowess. He's not scoring goals at this point in time, but he's definitely helping move that ball up the field. And what we've got to remember, goals scored are very important, but also your build-up play is just as important, because you can score all the live long day, but you're not going to score very much if you haven't got the build-up play. So having him in our squad at the moment, operating off that right wing, alongside Joe O'Brien, the two of them have a nice little combination together. So I do think that is definitely one we need to be considering for the future. And I also know old Charlie Alcaraz is meant to be coming in, or as the commentator said today, Alcatraz. So yeah, so Charlie Alcaraz, he'll be a very interesting one, because he's going to be going into a position that's heavily contended. Now, bear in mind, that guy plays as number 8, so he's going to be taking on the likes of Tim Irabernum and James Garner. So you're going to have 3 guys there fighting for that number 8 position. Now, bear in mind, Irabernum, he can do number 6. He can basically fall in as number 6. So if Idrissa gets injured, Irabernum can fall into there or go as number 8. James Garner can do the other way around, so he can actually operate a little bit as a number 10. He's decent at a number 10, nowhere near as good as the likes of Ndiaye or Decore, but he's definitely a decent one for number 10. Speaking of Decore, he had a reasonably good game today. His goal was absolutely sublime, nice solid hit, and he threatened for more. Now, as some people have said, if it wasn't for his greediness, I think we could have had it as 5-0. So near the end of the game, basically we caught Leicester's defence completely in a coma. They basically might as well have just not been there at this point, because we were threading it in and around their defence. They didn't know what to do. Beto had a crack, the ball got deflected, and it got deflected upwards, and they all just turned off thinking it was going out, and no, never happening. It basically whipped around, it came up and came back into the pitch proper, and we were able to try and clean up from there. And Decore has a moment there where all he had to do was put it across the face of goal, and Ndiaye should have been able to just bury it, but instead he went for goal himself, and thankfully, Ndiaye, a little bit later on in the game, got a goal. Otherwise, I would have been a bit disappointed, because he is in my fantasy team alongside Idrissa and Pickford, obviously. And he got me points. I was made up that he got me some points there. But yeah, so back to the early part of the second half. So the second half, basically, Leicester, they just went into damage control. They didn't look too much of an attacking threat. They were just trying to hold that ball and just try and keep things compact. They were trying to stop us from playing, and it just wasn't working the way Van Nistelrooy wanted it to work. Our lads, basically what was happening, you were seeing the nice little small triangles, nice little 1-2s here and there, and being nice and aggressive, pushing up the field. It wasn't absolutely breakneck speed. It wasn't your box-to-box sort of football where we were going from literally our box to their box in the space of 2 to 3 seconds. It was a nice slow build-up going over the course of 15 to 20 seconds or even 30 seconds in a way. Basically, what you'd see is, say, Jared Branthwaite, another one. He actually stopped the ball very well with his face today. He was him, Tarkowski, O'Brien, Mikalenko. Those guys need to take a bow because they were really good today. Mikalenko operating more like a left winger rather than his left back position, so he did well in that sort of regard. But he was really free to sort of express himself, and he did well with it. I did see a couple of skills he was trying to do here and there where he was sort of going a little bit awry. But overall, though, he had a really good game. But yeah, so as we're saying, so the build-up play, pretty much you had your defenders passing amongst themselves, slowly bringing it into the midfield. So they basically, you'd have Jake O'Brien almost creeping up into the right wing-back position and then pushing it into the midfield over to Idrissa or James Garner, or later on in the game, Tim Irabernum. Great to see him back as well. Looked very much out of pace, but that's his first game in quite a while. So I'm happy to see him back, and I hope long may it continue, because when he first came onto the scene, I was absolutely loving him. He was everywhere. He reminded me of a prime James McCarthy. He reminded me of a prime James McCarthy. No matter where you looked on the pitch, he was there. If he was at the back line, he was there. In the midfield, he was there. up near the top, he was there. Right wing, he was there. Left wing was there. He was even over in the lower Gladys serving people hot dogs, burgers and pies. He was literally everywhere, that guy, and I could not fault him. So I want to see him back in the squads, getting more regular time. The only thing is, him and James Garner are going to be fighting for that same position because Decore's almost solidified his position now as a number 10 because of just that performance he put in today. He had a decent performance, but in David Moyes' eyes, his close down work was absolutely sublime. On the ball, he improved versus the last couple of games and obviously scores a goal. So in David Moyes' eyes, Decore is definitely going to be getting more time there. So it's definitely going to be a situation of James Garner and their Birmingham are going to be fighting for that number 8 role alongside Charlie Alcaraz. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets the next one, because the next game is going to be the FA Cup game at home to Bournemouth. I'm going to this one. I actually let some friends of ours use our tickets today, so I was happy that they could actually get to enjoy the game. They've travelled all the way down from Scotland, and as we know, tickets to these games are like gold dust at the moment, so I was happy to actually give them tickets for that game and let them enjoy the game. I hope they have had a great time. Jake and Tom, if you guys are watching this right now, I hope you guys really did enjoy this game. And come back soon, definitely, because we know for a fact when you guys come down to Goodison Park, we're winning. Most of the time when they come down to the stadium, we win. So come back more. I know it's a long trip, but get your asses back down here more, especially for the bloody Merseyside derby. We need that win. But yeah, so sorry, going off track a little bit there. So yeah, so it is going to be a situation of you're going to have 3 number 8s there fighting for that position. The only way someone else is going to be getting into the squad is if Decore picks up a ban or an injury. Likewise with Idrissa Gueye picks up a ban or an injury. That's when they'll probably fall in. But this is a good issue to have because we do need that. We need options around the fields. And right now, with us having injuries left, right and centre, that being Seamus Coleman still being injured, in a sense, he's basically now going to be the coach. He's taking up the role as coach alongside David Moyes and that, and Leighton Baines. Who else? Yusuf Timity's still injured. Calvert-Lewin's injured. We think he's probably not going to be coming back to around April. Mangala's injured. We can't even... I'm still at a loss on whether they're going to be able to send him back or not. From what I've heard it from two different sources. One saying that he is going back. One saying, no, we've got to keep him because apparently in his loan contract, we've got some sort of obligation to him. If someone's able to clear that one up in the comment section, that is greatly appreciated. But yeah, it's a very, very confusing time in that regards because, as we know, information is rife in regards to them sort of things. But, as I was saying, so Chimity's still injured, Calvert-Lewin's still injured, Coleman's essentially partially retired / injured / working as a coach now. Who else is actually injured? Ira Burnham's coming back. James Garner's coming back. Dwight McNeil's had surgery. It was very minor surgery, but he's meant to be a couple of months out still. Jesus. We've actually got a fairly deep squad when you think about it. I mean, Brozier, he's pretty much injured for the rest of the season now. But when you think about it, we have actually got quite a few players that, Jesus, we're going to actually struggle. When everyone is fit and healthy, we're going to have the best problem ever in the sense of where are we going to put them all? I mean, even looking at the bench, let's say for argument's sake, everyone's back, fit and healthy. Our bench is going to be packed with decent players. I mean, Dwight McNeil, he's got a peach of a left foot. We know that for a fact. So having him operating as number 10 will put Decore's job in jeopardy. And making it very hard for Ilman and Dye to fall in there, or even Jesper Lindstrom. You've got Harrison as well, who can operate decently on the left. I mean, he almost scored again. He almost scored today. If he'd done what he normally does and misses today, I think he would have scored because he was close enough for it. Basically, ball came across the park, and he picked it up, and he put his laces through it on the left with his left foot. But instead of putting a touch of height on it, he kept it down. If he put a touch of height on it, that would have been a goal. That would have been the 5th, honestly. There was many chances of us going like 5, 6 or even 7 today. But you know what? After about 2 to 3, that's your cushion. You shouldn't be losing at about 2. You shouldn't be losing at 3-0, especially not 4-0. So after that, any other goal you get from there is just a bonus and lowering your goal difference. Because right now, I think we've got a -5 goal difference. And if we somehow manage to win the Merseyside derby, by, say, 2 goals or more, then that puts us, I think that puts us around 12th or 13th. So we go above West Ham and Man U, and we beat one of them in goal difference, if I'm not mistaken. I think we sit just below Brentford. Please don't quote me on that one, because I haven't got the information in front of me. I've got my screens here, but they're both just looking at my wallpaper right now. I should have had this information on the screens behind me, but never mind. Overall, though, that game today is a prime Moyes game. I know a lot of people are going, oh, he's not that different from Dyche, you know. Hang on, I need to take this off. I've got my camera in front of me, and I've got a preview in front of me, and I can see it, and it's just seeing the black and then the blue is kind of distracting me. So, let me get into this. So a lot of the fans were going on when Moyes was coming in saying, oh no, he's not the option we should have. We should go for someone different. We should go someone better. David Moyes is just like Dyche. Well, let's put it like this. David Moyes has just won 3 games, 2 of them being clean sheets. And from there, he's basically just matched what Sean Dyche has done over the course of nearly a calendar year. So you're telling me that David Moyes is just like Dyche. Let's put it like this. Dyche's style was quite literally hits upfield, hope for the fucking best. David Moyes is play it from the back out, bring it out, play between each other and do your best. It's not hope for your best, it's do your fucking best. That is what a coach does, not, I've spoken to some of the legends of football, past and present. I think I know what I'm doing. We don't need an attacking coach. We don't need a set-piece coach. We don't need a throw-in coach. All we've got to do is just do gaffer days. Let's do some beep tests. Why not? That isn't how you fucking coach, mate. And case in point, if that was Dyche's style of football today, we would have drew. We would have had a 0-0 game there, and a frustrating one at that. Against Tottenham, we would have lost 2-0. Against Brighton, we would have lost 1-0. I kid you not. These games, we wouldn't have got wins out of them. We would right now be in the relegation zone if we were still with Dyche. So Moyes, thank you so much for coming back to Everton, mate. I can't say that enough. You've been an absolute ray of sunshine. You've given us all some hope again, so thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. But, as I said, we're moving on now. Next game is the FA Cup against Brent. Too many bloody teams with B's in the name. Bournemouth at home. They've just lost 2-0 to Liverpool at the Vitality. One of their goals was very contentious. It's one that I would question it, seriously. Because the penalty appeal was a very freaking soft one. I mean, from what I've seen from the replay, the Liverpool player ran into the box and kicked himself. Now, I don't mean like the contention for the penalty for Everton against Newcastle, where I think it was Burns put his leg between Calvert-Lewin's legs as he was kicking. This was literally the Liverpool player kicked himself for the penalty, and they gave it. So I will put that one up to contention, really. So I do think when Bournemouth come to Goodison, they might want to, prove a point and try and beat us. They're definitely going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at us at this point. But I think we've got a decent enough chance against it. We definitely do. But time will tell. But in any case, guys, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate your continued support. And I can see the numbers going up on the channel at the moment. So I do thank you all who are subscribing to the channel. I would love all your opinions. If you want me to improve the channel in any way, shape or form, put it down below. I will take all opinions on board and put them into, how can I put this? Put them under review. So I will look at what you guys say and take it under consideration. Also, as I said, get yourselves down to the Bradley Moore pub if you like any of their merchandise. They are awesome people. They don't just do scarves, they do beanies, they do shirts, they do hoodies, they do clocks. There's a lot of stuff that they do there. So get down there, grab a pint, grab something from there. Tell them the School of Science has sent you. Come on, let's show our guys some support, eh? But in any case, guys, again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Up the fucking toffees, and peace.